I stared at my phone, my hands trembling as the detective's words echoed in my mind. Mr. Harrison, I need you to come down to the county morgue. We have a situation regarding your wife's remains. My wife? I said, gripping the edge of my desk. Detective, my wife died 11 years ago. I buried her myself. There was a pause on the other end. Sir, the woman we found had your contact information listed as her emergency contact. Her name is Patricia Harrison, same as your late wife. My blood ran cold. That's impossible. I understand this is confusing, Mr. Harrison. But we need someone to identify the body. Can you come down? I hung up and sat there in my office, the walls of Harrison and Sons Construction closing in around me. Patricia had been gone for over a decade. Breast cancer had taken her when she was only 52. I had watched her fade away in that hospital bed, held her hand as she took her last breath. I knew what death looked like. This had to be some kind of mistake. A clerical error. Someone with the same name. But as I drove to the morgue that gray November morning, something gnawed at the back of my mind, a memory I had buried along with my wife. The morgue was in the basement of County General Hospital. I had been here once before, 11 years ago, to sign the paperwork for Patricia's cremation. The smell hit me first, that sharp, chemical odor mixed with something else I couldn't name. Death had a smell. I had forgotten that. Detective Morrison was waiting for me in the lobby. She was in her 40s, with tired eyes and gray streaking through her dark hair. Mr. Harrison, thank you for coming. I don't understand what's happening here, Detective. Neither do we, sir. The woman was found yesterday morning in a motel room off Highway 9. Apparent overdose. No ID on her, but she had a phone with your number programmed under husband, and she had identification documents with the name Patricia Harrison, date of birth matching your wife's records. My heart was pounding. That's identity theft. Someone stole my wife's information. That's what we thought too. Detective Morrison led me down a long corridor. But Mr. Harrison, there's something else you should know before you see her. She stopped walking and turned to face me. The woman we found. She's approximately 28 to 30 years old. I stared at her. What? If your wife died 11 years ago at 52, she'd be 63 now if she were alive. This woman is decades younger. Then it's obviously not my wife. We know that, sir. But we need to understand the connection. Why she had your wife's identity. Why she had your number. Detective Morrison pushed open a heavy door. The cold air from the morgue hit me like a wave. She led me to a wall of metal drawers, each one a small vault of tragedy. She pulled out drawer number 7. Are you ready? I nodded, though I wasn't ready at all. She pulled back the white sheet. I stumbled backward, my hand flying to my mouth. The room spun. Detective Morrison caught my arm. Mr. Harrison? Do you know her? I couldn't speak. I couldn't breathe, because lying there on that cold metal table, pale and lifeless, was a young woman who looked exactly like my son. Not similar, not reminiscent, exactly like him. The same sharp cheekbones, the same narrow nose, the same distinctive cleft in the chin that ran in my family. My father had it. I had it. My son Marcus had it. I managed to choke out. I don't know her, but she looks like my son. Detective Morrison's eyes sharpened. Your son? How old is he? 43. Does he have any siblings? No. He's my only child. The detective pulled out a notepad. Mr. Harrison, I need you to think carefully. Could your son have a daughter he doesn't know about? Someone from a previous relationship? Marcus has been married to the same woman for 18 years. They have 2 kids together. He's never mentioned anyone else. But even as I said it, I felt the lie forming in my throat, because I did know something. Something I had buried so deep I had almost convinced myself it never happened. 29 years ago, Marcus had gotten a girl pregnant during his freshman year of college. Her name was Rebecca Chen. She was 19, pre-med, brilliant. Marcus had been terrified. He was only 18, had his whole life ahead of him, a football scholarship, plans to join my company after graduation. Patricia and I had just scraped together the money to send him to college. We couldn't afford a baby. A scandal would ruin everything. I had handled it. That's what I told myself. I had handled it. I drove to Rebecca's apartment off campus, and I offered her money. A lot of money. Enough to take care of the problem and start fresh somewhere else. I told her Marcus was too young to be a father, that she would ruin his future, that she should think about her own future too. She had looked at me with tears streaming down her face and said, "I would never ruin Marcus's life. I love him." But she took the money, $20,000 in cash, and the next week, she was gone, transferred to a school in California. Marcus had been devastated for months, but eventually, he moved on. Met Jennifer his senior year, got married, had a good life. I never told Patricia what I had done. I never told Marcus. It was one of those things you bury so deep it stops feeling real. But looking at the dead woman's face now, I knew. I knew what had really happened. Rebecca hadn't gotten an abortion. She'd had the baby, a daughter, and somehow, that daughter had found us. "Detective," I said quietly, my voice barely working, "I need to make a phone call." She nodded and stepped out of the room, giving me privacy. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and called Marcus. He answered on the second ring. "Dad? What's up?" "Marcus, I need you to tell me the truth about something, and I need you to tell me right now." There was a pause. "What are you talking about?" "Rebecca Chen. Your freshman year. Did she have the baby?" The silence that followed was answer enough. "How did you?" Marcus's voice cracked. "Dad, I didn't know for sure until 3 months ago. She contacted me through LinkedIn. Said her name was Patricia Harrison. She took Mom's name, I guess, as some kind of message. That her mother had died last year and told her everything before she passed." My hand clenched around the phone. "And you didn't think to tell me?" "I didn't know if it was true. She could have been anyone. She wanted money, Dad. She said she was struggling, said she needed help." "Did you give her money?" "No. I told her I needed a DNA test first. She got angry. Said I was just like you, only caring about money and reputation. She said she didn't want anything from me, that she just wanted to know her father. But then she kept messaging me, kept asking for loans. I blocked her number. I closed my eyes. When was the last time you heard from her?" 2 weeks ago. She showed up at my office. Dad, I swear, I didn't know what to do. She looked just like me. It was like looking in a mirror. But she was different. She was angry, unstable. She said she had proof of who she was, that she was going to go public, ruin my reputation, sue for back child support. She said you had paid her mother to disappear, and now it was time we paid her. What did you do? Ear. Marcus's voice dropped to a whisper. I gave her $5,000, told her it was all I could spare, told her to leave me alone. And did she? I thought so. I haven't heard from her since. I looked back at the body on the table. At Patricia, named after the grandmother she never knew. She's dead, Marcus. What? The police found her in a motel yesterday. Overdose. I'm at the morgue right now. Oh my God. Marcus sounded like he was going to be sick. Oh my God, Dad, I swear I didn't do anything to her. You have to believe me. I believe you. But did I? My own son, my flesh and blood. Would he kill to protect his perfect life? His perfect family? His position at the company? I had raised him to value success above all else. I had taught him that reputation was everything, that sacrifice was necessary to maintain what we had built. Maybe I had taught him too well. Don't talk to the police without a lawyer, I said. I'll handle this. I hung up and called Detective Morrison back into the room. I think she might be my granddaughter, I said, from a relationship my son had in college, but I need a DNA test to confirm. Detective Morrison nodded slowly. We can arrange that. But Mr. Harrison, I have to ask, did your son know about her? He said she contacted him a few months ago, that she wanted money. And did he give it to her? I hesitated. Lying to the police was a crime, but protecting my son was instinct. You'll have to ask him that yourself. The next few days were a blur of phone calls, lawyers, and waiting. The DNA test confirmed what I already knew. Patricia Chen Harrison was Marcus's daughter, my granddaughter, and I had never known she existed. The autopsy revealed she had died from a heroin overdose. There was no evidence of foul play, But Detective Morrison wasn't satisfied. She dug into Patricia's background and discovered she had a history of drug use, petty theft, and prostitution. She had been in and out of rehab twice. Her mother, Rebecca, had died of liver failure the year before, leaving Patricia alone with no family and no money. Patricia had been desperate when she found Marcus. She hadn't just wanted to know her father, she had needed him, and he had given her $5,000 and told her to disappear. 2 weeks later, she was dead. Marcus lawyered up immediately. He refused to talk to the police without his attorney present. Jennifer was furious with him for keeping the secret, for having a daughter he never told her about. Their marriage was crumbling, but Marcus insisted he was innocent. "I didn't kill her, Dad. I swear on Mom's grave. I gave her money, and I never saw her again." I wanted to believe him, but I had seen the fear in his eyes. The same fear I had seen 29 years ago when he told me Rebecca was pregnant. The same fear I had seen in my own eyes in the mirror the morning after I paid Rebecca to leave. A week after Patricia's death, Detective Morrison called me back to the station. "Mr. Harrison, we've been going through Patricia's phone records. She made several calls to your son in the days before her death. 17 calls, to be exact. He never answered. Maybe he was busy. Maybe. But she also sent him text messages, threatening messages. She said she was going to go to the press, that she was going to expose him for abandoning her, that she was going to sue him for emotional distress and back child support. I felt my stomach drop. She was unstable. Marcus told me that. She was also desperate, and desperate people do desperate things." Detective Morrison leaned forward. "Mr. Harrison, I don't think your granddaughter overdosed by accident. I think someone helped her along. You think my son killed her? I think someone did. And I think that someone had a lot to lose if Patricia went public. You have no evidence. Not yet. But we found traces of fentanyl in her system. Street heroin is often cut with fentanyl, but this was pure pharmaceutical-grade fentanyl, the kind you'd get from a doctor or a hospital." My blood went cold. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying someone with access to pharmaceutical drugs gave Patricia that fentanyl. Someone who wanted her dead. My son is a construction company executive. He doesn't have access to drugs like that." "No, but your daughter-in-law does." I stared at her. "Jennifer? Jennifer Harrison is a registered nurse at County General. She has access to the pharmaceutical supply room. And according to hospital records, there was a discrepancy in the fentanyl inventory the week Patricia died. 10 vials went missing. I couldn't breathe. Jennifer. Sweet, perfect Jennifer, who had given me 2 beautiful grandchildren, who had been the perfect wife to Marcus for 18 years. Jennifer, who would do anything to protect her family. You can't possibly think. I think Jennifer found out about Patricia. I think she saw Patricia as a threat to her marriage, her family, her lifestyle, and I think she did something about it. This is insane. Is it? Think about it, Mr. Harrison. Your son gives Patricia $5,000 and tells her to leave. She keeps calling, keeps texting, keeps threatening to go public. Marcus goes home and tells Jennifer everything. Jennifer realizes this woman could destroy everything they've built, so she takes matters into her own hands. You're saying she murdered her? I'm saying she helped Patricia overdose. Maybe she didn't mean to kill her. Maybe she just wanted to scare her, or make her go away. But fentanyl is deadly. A tiny miscalculation, and you're dead within minutes. I thought about Jennifer, about how protective she was of Marcus and the kids, about how she had worked so hard to climb the social ladder in our town, to be the perfect wife, the perfect mother, the perfect daughter-in-law, about how she had everything to lose. I need to talk to my son, I said. Detective Morrison nodded. You should. Because if Jennifer did this, Marcus might know about it. And if he's covering for her, he's an accessory to murder. I left the police station in a daze. I drove to Marcus's house, a beautiful 4-bedroom colonial in the nicest neighborhood in town. The house I had helped them buy, the life I had helped them build. Jennifer answered the door. She looked tired, her hair pulled back in a messy ponytail, her eyes red-rimmed. Robert, what are you doing here? I need to talk to Marcus. He's at work. Then I need to talk to you. She hesitated, then stepped aside to let me in. The house was immaculate as always, but there was a tension in the air. Pictures of my grandchildren smiled at me from the walls. 8-year-old Emma and 12-year-old Jake. Perfect kids with perfect lives. Lives that could be destroyed by the truth. Jennifer, I said carefully, I need to ask you something, and I need you to tell me the truth. She crossed her arms. What? Did you know about Patricia before she died? Jennifer's face went pale. Marcus told you. He didn't have to. The police figured it out. They know about the fentanyl missing from your hospital. They know about the phone calls. They know everything. Tears welled up in Jennifer's eyes. I didn't mean to kill her. My heart stopped. What did you do? She was destroying our family. Jennifer's voice cracked. She was calling Marcus every day, threatening him, demanding money. She said she was going to go to the press. Tell everyone that Marcus abandoned his daughter. Do you know what that would do to us? To the kids? Marcus would lose his job. We'd lose everything. So you killed her? No. I just wanted to help her. I swear. Jennifer was crying now, her whole body shaking. She called me. 2 weeks ago. She found my number somehow. She said she was desperate, that she needed help. She said she was trying to get clean, but the withdrawal was too painful. She begged me for something to help with the pain. And you gave her fentanyl. I gave her what I thought was a safe dose, just enough to help her through the worst of it. I'm a nurse, I know how to dose medication. But she must have taken too much. Or mixed it with something else. I don't know. But I swear I didn't mean to kill her. I stared at this woman I had known for 18 years. This woman who had been like a daughter to me. You gave her drugs and then you left her alone in a motel room to die. I didn't know she would die. I thought I was helping. You were covering your tracks. You were protecting your perfect life. Jennifer collapsed onto the couch, sobbing. I'm not a murderer. I'm not. But she was. Maybe not intentionally, maybe not maliciously, but she had given my granddaughter the drugs that killed her, and she had let her die alone. I pulled out my phone and called Detective Morrison. Come to Marcus's house, I said. I have your confession. The next few hours were a nightmare. Police cars filled the driveway. Jennifer was arrested in front of her neighbors, her children's friends' parents, everyone. Marcus came home from work to find his wife in handcuffs and his world falling apart. He looked at me with betrayal in his eyes. You turned her in? Your own daughter-in-law? She killed your daughter, Marcus. My granddaughter. She didn't mean to. That doesn't bring Patricia back. Marcus grabbed me by the shoulders. You did this. This is all your fault. If you hadn't paid Rebecca off 29 years ago, if you had let me be a father, Patricia would still be alive. She would have had a family. She wouldn't have been a drug addict living in motels. This is on you, Dad. He was right. I knew he was right. I had started this chain of events 29 years ago, when I decided that money was more important than family. When I decided that reputation was more important than doing the right thing. And now my granddaughter was dead. My son's life was destroyed. My daughter-in-law was going to prison, all because of choices I had made. The trial lasted 3 months. Jennifer was charged with involuntary manslaughter and illegal distribution of controlled substances. Her lawyers argued it was a mercy killing, that she was trying to help Patricia with her addiction. The prosecution argued she was protecting her family's reputation and deliberately gave Patricia a lethal dose. In the end, Jennifer was sentenced to 8 years in prison. Marcus divorced her 6 months later. He couldn't forgive her for what she'd done, but he couldn't forgive me either. He quit the company, moved out of state with the kids, and cut off all contact with me. I was alone. I sold Harrison & Sons Construction. Without Marcus, there was no Sons anymore. I couldn't run it alone. I didn't want to. I took the money from the sale, $12 million, and I created a foundation. The Patricia Chen Harrison Foundation for Young Mothers. It provides financial support, housing, and education for single mothers who want to keep their babies. Mothers who might otherwise be pressured to give them up. Mothers like Rebecca. It won't bring Patricia back. It won't undo the damage I've done, but maybe it will save another girl from dying alone in a motel room, overdosed on drugs, abandoned by the family who should have loved her. I'm 71 years old now. I live alone in my house, the same house Patricia lived in. The same house where I taught my son that money and reputation were more important than doing what's right. Every year on the anniversary of Patricia's death, I visit her grave. I bring flowers. I apologize. And I tell her about the foundation, about the mothers we've helped, about the babies who got to grow up knowing their families loved them. I tell her I'm sorry I never got to know her, that I'm sorry I chose my son's future over hers before she was even born, that I'm sorry for everything. The police called me to identify my daughter's body. I only have one son, but the dead woman was my granddaughter. A granddaughter I never knew existed because I paid her mother to disappear. And now I live with that every single day.